Yay! We're excited because Garrett's going to speak now. Te tu te ta i Choo. Turn it off. There's his introduction song. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm going to shut the door.
I don't lie.
Bye, son.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Yay. I know you guys have been waiting for this guy. See, should I even introduce him? Everybody knows who he is. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. No more leaders. I'm just kidding. Well, we're excited to have Garrett Duncan here. He's my brother. I love him so much. Maybe my son. And he's been around all over the United States. I don't know, maybe around the world too. And our mission is to go around the world, and we have a very big mission to do, and it's exciting. And we're probably going to start doing a tour too to open up some of the stargates as well. We did our first one at Window Rock, and that was amazing. And that's on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. So if you want to see that, that was pretty awesome because we called in all of the star beings. Ah! So I'm going to hand this over to Garrett Duncan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Garrett. I'm addicted to crystals and feathers and laughter. There we go. When I got invited to do this, it was more of a command because I was debating whether or not to come out to Albuquerque because I got another invitation to go to Arkansas, and it was the one that says no. I'm going, you're going. You guys have to thank because she dragged my ass out here just so I can talk to you. Anyway, nonetheless, I'm here. So one thing I do want to emphasize and share with you about the Galactic Collective is that we are here together. You know, we are. You know, as Michael, I love Michael because if you guys don't, with what Michael was talking about earlier, this is what we're about, like him and his love mama here, Tammy. This is near and dear to us because we created that space for him to be his authentic self so that he can be that reflection for all of you. So this is why we are here. And so because we're all ambassadors in this way, for the younger generations, we're providing this avenue. We're providing this gateway for us. You know, yes, we're way showers. Yes, we're continuing to do all this. Now we're saying, come on, guys. Come on. You can do it. Come on. What the heck? Come on. Because even before that, before Garrett was standing up here talking to a lot of people, I was living in the Muggle world. You know, the 3D realm. I used to do mortgages. I was in anti-money laundering for over 10 years, the banking system, so I knew all of that. And what else did I do? Gosh, the last job I was in a credit reporting agency, so I knew all about the financial pieces of the banking systems, right? So I was doing all that. And it's amazing now when I reflect back and I share this information with you, like, wow, really? You weren't just that crazy Heyoka medicine man that makes people laugh? I'm like, no, I was a muggle at one time. I said, I still am. So that's what, you know, this is just that expression, you know, I am you, you are me. We are one. We hold this resonance, you know. And so being here amongst you in the 505
This is something long awaiting because, as I mentioned this morning as I was giving the opening prayer, I come from Sanasti, and it's a community about 25 miles south of Shiprock in the Four Corners area in the northwestern part of the state. And so there, amongst Navajo land with the traditions, I grew up with all of that. Always knew that was going to be like the foundation for all this to come, right? And so in 2008, on the 27th day of my 27th year here on Earth, that's when what would you label that, as Michael would say? Spiritual awakening happened. So I know I'm going to give a lot of reference to Michael because he's amazing. He's just that younger me, and I'm like, oh, see, he gets it, right? So all of this happened. So all these energies, my powers and abilities, all that came back, right? Because I know I've done this work a lot, not just in this current time, but also in previous lifetimes. Been medicine person, indigenous, both male and female. Egyptian, what else? We got Lemurian, Tibetan monk. Oh my gosh, I was a Tibetan monk in Tibet. Because when I heard the singing bowls the first time, I knew how to play them away. And that's why I'm like, okay, I've been there, done that. Meditation? No. I'm not going to do that in this lifetime. No. No. Can you imagine that? Yeah. Not for me. That's why I encourage individuals, meditate however you want to meditate. You don't need to sit there. No. Garrett's been there. Trust me. It wasn't that fun. But it served its purpose because now I can make fun of it and laugh, right? But nonetheless, I gained the experience that I needed in that lifetime. So this little segment that I allowed myself to remember in this current human form, in this current human time. So with what's happening now on the earth, in this current incarnation, I've chosen as Tam the native costume. I this time embody the Navajo, the tradition, the ways. In that venue, I have a lot of indigenous wisdoms from my mother's side. And grandmother, they're seers. They're all medicine people. And on my dad, there's a support. So these said to me, helped grandma transitioned. She said that it's in you. All of this stuff is in you. I said, what does that mean? She goes, it's in your blood. Okay, that mean? So I kept asking her questions, and she said, in your ancestrals, in your ancestral lineage. Huh? I said, what, Grandma? I'm still confused. And so what she shared with me is that it's in our blood because when we are here in the earthly form, and this is what Patricio was talking about, your ancestors, right? We're all, what do they call it? DNA, RNA, we all have the star essence, the star DNAs to make up this. That's what Grandma was talking about. And Sasquatch came into my life to 2015. And Sasquatch is the one that shared with me because they've seen this ascension, in quotes, happen over and over and over again here on Earth. And so I started to ask Sasquatch questions. It's like, so you know the true Earth history, you've seen it all, right? And they're like, yes, we've seen it many times. We've seen you when you were like this, but we already know that part of your genetic heritage and genetic lineages come from us, that you were Sasquatch before. I'm like, oh, no wonder why. So I can speak the language. I was like, oh, cool. I speak Sasquatch. But let me tell you what happened when I started to speak this. I was driving home from class, and Sasquatch decides, okay, you're going to learn how to speak Sasquatch. I said, okay. So I'm driving, and when you guys are driving, you're in that zone, right? You can't help but be up there, right? Yeah? Guilty? Show of hand, who's guilty? See? So when I'm in that zone, right, Sasquatch, all right, it's time. I'm like, for what? You're like, you're going to start learning how to speak. I'm like, okay. And so they were doing this. I'm like, so I was doing all these weird faces because they were stretching my mouth and then opening. And then the sounds started coming out. So when I start to
embody their frequency because they're so very intense, I have to put the mic away a little bit. Otherwise, I break things, huh, Tracy? So that's them. So this is, yeah, right? I always like to make this, I put this question out there. How do you think you guys summon Sasquatch? Who knows how to call Sasquatch in? All right. So for those of you who know, this is how you call Sasquatch in. You don't have. This is their ceremony. This is Garrett's ceremony on how to call in Sasquatch. Who let the squashies out? Woot, woot, woot. Who let the squashies out? Woot, woot, woot. Wait for it. Wait for it. I'm not kidding. Watch. They're coming in now. Aha. The smells. So the smells. The vibe just went. Now they're right behind me. They're in their ethereal form. You feel that? There's a smell. So some of you may be smelling right now a swampy earth smell, which is affiliated with the males. And then you have the female essence that's more flowery. So they have a softer scent. So these are the distinguishing markers for our rationale to process. The ancient ones, you smell this?
I just.
Yeah. There's also too like a musky skunk odor. If you smell musky skunk, that's also Sasquatch coming in. So these guides are coming to step into your fields now, not only to let you know that they're around, but also if you're ready to work with them, they're coming in for you. So this is the reason why they're here. And I love to make jokes because I also embody the energy of the Heyoka, where we're all about creating chaos through laughter, and we always smile a lot. That's why Michael is a Heyoka. Beautiful, what do you call it? Beautiful shit or something like that. So that's just more or less his teaching. He's bringing that awareness for us. But Sasquatch is very light-hearted. They tune very much to their heart. So they connect here. And when they come in, they're resonating with you on a higher vibration because I always like to throw this question out there. What do you think the most common languages here on Earth is? Anybody?
Spanish.
Spanish, Mandarin, English, French, Spanish, body language, sign language, close. I'm sorry? Emotion, close. She's really close. What do you think it is? Yes, I heard it from my Navajo brother over here. It's laughter. Because no matter if I'm speaking Mandarin or I'm saying Yat Eshik Edoshadane, I'm speaking Navajo, or I'm speaking light language, star language, Kinyamore Kete Sanstiyashana, Okuhande Shishan, or Je suis innocent en français, or Yo soy inocente.
No, you are.
Muy cierto. Captain gets me, she knows. But when I laugh, you already know something's happening, right? So then you're like, oh, I don't understand what it's saying, but I know it's funny. So I'm going to react into more of that higher vibrancy, right? So you can share that commonality. So I speak Spanish, speak French, I speak Navajo, but when you have laughter, that unity comes into placement, right? So Sasquatch is very much in connection to laughter. And this is also what I try to share this medicine with a lot of individuals, because the higher vibrancy, yes, we have our indigenous days. Yes, you have those moments where we need to be serious and listen to that elder, right? But then your Heyoka side, the clown's like, oh, let's get out. So when Tammy talks about the younger generation, the star seeds, the star beings, the young ones, they have ADD, right? It's because they're vibrating higher. They're vibrating higher at a higher capacity. And, Michael answered a lot of questions about being ADD and labeled as bipolar. But when I see these beings in their essence, in their energy form, they're very highly evolved beings. They're very highly evolved children. And these are the teachers that are coming into this earth right now. Because when these beings come here and incarnate in a human form, in our embodiment in human form, 4D, 5D, that frequency is too high. It's too high to hold in this. So I forget who it was, I think it was Patricio that mentioned that if you think about the frequency of the sun and you're putting that in our body, what would happen to us? We wouldn't be here because this flesh and blood can't hold it yet. I want to say yet because it's all part of the ascension process. So that's where we have to harmonize and live in balance with ourselves and harmonize as much as we can, respecting the natural laws, right? For all the starry beings who come to be here. But joy and laughter helps us do that. It helps us harmonize more efficiently and more effectively. So with the more high vibrancy that you can hold in this way, then in that instance, you're able to hold that frequency more. And think about it, if you're going from this place, like if you're in a gathering, and I love it, I just refer to Michael a lot because I'm playing off of him. Morbid, he talks about morbid, right? So if you're in that energy of sorrow and morbid, and all of a sudden you throw a joke in there, and everybody's like, do we laugh? Right? But they do exactly what she did, is just starts cracking up, and then pretty soon everybody's laughing. But you notice how quickly that energy would shift when you're in that state? So these frequencies are coming in, and one of the best ways that they're sharing with me right now, just for you to remind yourself, is that the laughter and that lightheartedness that comes with laughter is how you really will hold and embody that as you're walking this path. So, and I'm talking to the elders here. There's a group of star elders that are with us. They're right behind me. Oh, excuse me. In addition to Sasquatch people. So they help drive the conversation because they have been listening. They've been here. They've been watching our frequencies, our energies, and they've been here. Prior to our arrival, we saw a whole bunch of ships around this area. The chemtrails like no weather, and all of a sudden it's clear. Yeah. When we were coming from Denver, a group of us came from there on Wednesday. It was all that grayish cloud cover, and then the only spot that was open was right here over Tammy's shop. So that's how you know there's a lot of magic in the air, if you want to call it that. So the star nations are keeping all of this heaviness at bay so that we can truly be, and we're embodying each other. So these messages that are coming through and the questions that are asked, if we're all expressions of each other, then you probably already have that question, but somebody else beats you to it, right? And then they're answering it for you. So we're all in that flow. And that's one of the things too that they're sharing, is that the fluidity is important right now, especially for us. And the biggest message that they wish to relay is about start being. So this is how we go do, by being, by embodying it, by walking the path, as Tammy calls it, integrity, impeccability. So we're going out and sharing. Andestria no konae sisanstia. Yesto honae ketares san. Yesti ingo moda sisandia negedos. Go out and share your true expression, however it is that these patternings are coming at, however it is that these languages are coming, because the higher star beings, they don't necessarily have the language, because here on Earth, 3D, 5D, 4D, all that, we have to hear that patterning because of our rationale, because of human form. So we have the right brain, left brain, right? So that whole concept. So these patternings are interwoven within our field. So as I'm speaking right now, from the council behind me, these frequencies and patternings are coming out into your fields, because before you guys incarnated here on Mama Earth, on this planet, you were already pre-programmed. So you already had these embodiments, energetic frequencies that were instilled in your DNA, instilled in you, in your auric fields, instilled from not only your earthly lifetimes, because now we're going beyond that, we're going to our galactic past lifetimes, but it's more galactic current embodiments. So we're becoming the multidimensional human being, multidimensionality. And what that means is scientists explain this as quantum. So when you look at the quantum fields, which is our auric fields within us, those molecular structures and the patternings, that's what happens is when I'm working on someone's field, so it's aligning it however it needs to be aligned. So what's happening is I'm speaking the star language for each of you, and these activations are opening back up. So it's like so that part of you is now coming into the rational form of your human self, and now the expression is coming out. So for me, I've never spoke these languages up until just last November. And when I came back from the conference, it was a Sasquatch conference up in Washington. The Arcturians were there, and along with other star nations. And I've always known they existed. I've always known that they were real. And they've helped me a lot, because they work on individuals. I help with the healing. And so I've always known they were there. And now, when I came back, they helped me with that part of me, which I always known, and I know you guys do, otherwise you would not be here, that you felt like Mama Earth was always not part of you, right? Like, yes, you're here, you're playing the game, but really you feel you're from another Earth, right? Or another world, if you want to call it that. So when Mother Earth, Mama Earth, made the call out and the plea for help, all of you answered, because you're the strongest of the strong souls. All of you came, because we already know what our mission is to do, right? Right? So this is what it's all about. We're coming together collaboratively to be who we are, the true aspect of who we are. And Sasquatch said to me last summer, when we went out to the res and I was at my home where I was raised, Sasquatch gave me a big message to share with all of you. They said, the time is now, the people are ready. So all that time, all those attempts, ascension attempts, they said, now it's time. This time we're going to make it. So all the wiping, clearing of all the past lifetimes, they said, go out and do. So do the work, be who you are, no fear, be who you are. Go talk about crazy, because my motto is crazy is the new normal, right? But to us, that's normal because it's who we are, right? So you go out and speak the language. You go out, yes, talk about Sasquatch. Yes, go out and talk about the star beings. Because the people who are waiting for this, they're waiting for you and waiting for that permission for them to start being. This is the sign. This is what we've been waiting for. So when I go out and share this message, Ateshono. Ariesesanio kotoyesesam. Kinusto ande eketishnayo. Hundo eketa. Kinastaye sesono. Isto on kanai. So what happens is these triggers start going on for everybody, because when we're being our authentic self, the love and the vibration shifts and shoots up higher, and we're like, yes, oh my God, home, 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 right? E.T., home, 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 right? So that's what happens. So I've seen this enough to where individuals, they'll just be like yourself, and when we speak the language, they break, like it's their whole illusion of what they thought was reality shatters, and then just and they get very emotional and teary-eyed like this because they know. They're like, yes, 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 home, yes, I've been waiting for this. Where the hell have you been? I was like, I've been here, where have you been? So this is what they're talking about as far as the start being. This is who you are. And so when Tammy and I've already was having this in the back of my mind even before I met them. And the story of how that came about is we were at the gathering of healers on the Navajo Nation that they have every year. And we were getting ready to go. We were packing up and we were wanting to rush out. And then I was literally walking out of the door and I saw her and Anthony sitting there. I'm like, oh, Starbeams! I see you, I know who you guys are. So I went over there. And Tammy's just like, I'm like, I'm like, okay, I know who you are. So now I can't get rid of them. So this is the nature of the game. So now that you guys are aware of this, you'll start to feel it. And I forget, dear brother over here, Soul, and that's the best way is when you guys are practicing and wanting to start speaking, it's already there. Just know it's already there. Okay? It's already in you. And so the best way for yourself to allow this to come into manifestation is that baby talk. As you're doing that, yeah. She's close. I can see her feels. She's like, Garrett, I already do that already. I know you do, because I telepath too. I feel it right here. She's like, Garrett, he's going to call me out, watch. I know, we'll save that a little bit here. So that's what happens to more people, because it's giving them permission to be who they are. And they're not crazy. So we're going out, on this single sharing. On pattern, can you stay on this frequency? So that's what the definition of what this came out. So when I started speaking this, first it was just gonna go, no, it just goes, right? But what's happened recently, yes, I know. She's awesome. That's an amazing being, in case you guys don't know. She's very highly evolved, very high. Yeah. She telepaths a lot, so she's telepathic, and that's the new kids nowadays, is they're very telepathic. But I'm to the point now where I can pause before my human rationale can come in. I can get to that point where I can stop myself, relay the translation, so that each of you can understand. Because we find that it's easier for you to hold and comprehend what is coming out. So sometimes the difficulty in that frequency is because of the rational mind that they're referring to. So when we're speaking the star languages, which is already you, different than channeling, right, Gail? Yeah. Different than channeling. It's you. It's that multifaceted. It's that you, that aspect of you that is Pleiadian, that is Sirian, that is Arcturian, that is Sasquatch. It is that you that is Andromedan, Andorian. Who else? Oh, they stopped. They're making fun of me. They're like, okay, stop with the labels. So it's just that facet. So, as I was talking about the galactic lifetimes, that's you, because we're all multifaceted. So when we're here on Earth, there's been a lot of focus, especially in this realm, the metaphysical realm, around past lives, but it's always correlated to Earth, right? Some you get glimpses or you get a reading every now and then and you go, oh, you're from this system, right? But now we're to that point where we're extending to those, yes, you're that system. 332 light years in this direction. This is one of the lifetimes. Hope though you don't mind me sharing, but this is where Captain comes from. Captain, she's one of our speakers. She'll be speaking tomorrow, but she comes from this realm and it's in this direction here. So I can track, I can see where the different star maps are, because For me, like I said, I've already known I've done this many times, not just here on Earth, but other systems as well. So these languages, the patterning, what Soul was talking about, sometimes it starts off, yes, you're speaking, then you get comfortable, and then you'll get to the point where you can pause, but you got to do it very quickly, because when you're speaking very fast, your human form has to catch up and hold that frequency, right? And then, so when you're speaking so quickly, you have to pause enough your consciousness to relay that information before your ego attaches to it. When your ego attaches to it, that's when it dissuades that message a little bit. So you're trying to do the best to interpret it. So when you initially start to speak the languages, just feel. Because just as you are feeling now, is flowing out of you. You feel something going on right here in this area, because the heart is the translator. So it's determining and translating the messages and the patternings that are coming, the vibrations that are coming out, the best to its ability. But it's feeling, oh, something's going on because I feel this frequency that's coming through, right? And then your rationale is catching up. But just keep in mind, the rationale is the human form, which is connected to survivalship. We don't have to necessarily survive as much as we used to. So this is an outdated program. So this program has been in place from the dawn of humanity. Now we're working in collaboration with ego rather than trying to destroy it. So there's some teaching out there that says, oh, your ego is bad, you shouldn't be an ego, da-da-da-da-da-da, right? I'm like, yes, we know, but it's part of who you are. You can't kill it, otherwise you cease to exist here on this planet, right? So we've evolved since then. So your ego is now considered a protector, motivator, and a teacher. Why? Second guess, oh, Garrett's just saying whatever, right? But then why do I feel this? So it's motivating you to trust what's here, right? Oh, that language sounds kind of scary, or whatever. It sounds like, voodoo. So then hence it's protecting, it's being a protector, so it's shielding, right? But oh, synchronicity, validation, aha, okay, right? That's when it becomes a teacher. So when you see your ego as these three things, and these three things only, it loses less of a hold on you. And then you're able to go out and navigate and do what you need to do. Make sense? Awesome. I'm sensing questions, so I'm going to open this up now. Who has questions for Garrett, or these star beings that are here? What? I love that when Patricio had his opening. I always say that. I'll do it at Tammy and Anthony Soundbath. Hi, welcome to Earth. Here's your day. Aloha.
Next, how comes Earth? What I do. Yes. Times, so they know how to harmonize and work with the elements. So the star beings come to learn from them. Because everything is so vibrantly light and love and high dimensional frequency in their realm, they need to know what it feels like to do this.
My sense is that sometimes I get this tingling feeling like there's a presence here that is aware.
Yes.
Using me as the 3D vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But also I have a sense that there are invisibles, that fairies and others that travel independently are not using my eyes and ears.
Yes, that's correct. So it just kind of depends on what the intention is behind both yours and on their side. So they can act as a guide in that instance, or they actually, if they want to bring you a message or use your 3D form as a vessel during healing sessions, or maybe during message or channeling session, that's when they would come through very strong.
And then there's the exorcist.
Yes.
And the evil entity
Mm-hmm.
that grabs hold. And my own experience as a healer is that if you are violating any of the natural laws, or addicted to drugs, or expressing anger, hatred, or those things,
Yep.
you open your field for those frequencies to harmonize with these beings who have these angry frequencies.
Yes, and in that instance, what happens is you become a catalyst in the form of battery. So they start to feed off those emotions. So when something becomes an addiction, such as alcohol, drugs, sex, food, sugar, whatever those craving is, when it's an addiction, you're a battery source for whatever that external entity is. So it's feeding off you. Does that make sense? Other questions? Yes, Barbara?
Well, I'm fairly new to speaking the language of light.
Yes.
And for me, it sounds like a combination of a lot of different sounds, but I'm not real familiar with the exact languages that they might be
Yes.
sounding like.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit like Native American languages, a little bit like Hebrew.
Yes.
And I don't remember what comes through after I say it. But I'm not looking for validation, just looking for more awareness about what it is.
Which language?
Well, not necessarily, but why does it come through with so many different sounds?
The patterning's different. So when you think frequency and the best way I can describe it is just patterning. So it's color. We have all these different shapes and forms. So it comes and it blends together the way it needs to blend, just like your creation, beautiful creation here, to bring that imprint and to harmonize with what message that you need at that particular time. Sometimes if we're very strong in our right brain, is that what it is? The rationale, we need to label, right? But like I was saying before, if you trust what it's coming out here, you already know it's higher vibrancy. It's already high. So in that instance, as Gabriel Soul was saying, in that case, it really doesn't matter that it's coming through. But more, I like to look at it from the perspective of a game. So if your curious mind wants to label and say, oh, what am I speaking? This is what they call Andorian. This is from the Andorian system, 1077 light years from Earth in that direction. But I had to get to this level to be open enough to pause it and be like, okay, rational mind, kick in, hurry. Related translation. Otherwise, your ego is going to try to da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So this is the Andorian language. Does that help? Awesome. Other questions? Yes.
I'm wondering about the light languages, if they're here and they're becoming more so that we can express them. Is it because telepathy is not enough, or is it for different purposes?
Yes.
Messages you get for the
Expression. It is. You answered your own question. You said it's for a different purpose. That's exactly what it is. And that goes back to what your intention is to begin with, right? So if your intention or you have that fascination or curiosity around telepathy, in which Sasquatch helps a lot with that, because initially they communicate telepathic channels first. So they don't have vocal cords that are developed as ours. So that's why when when that comes in, it's a different frequency, right? It's a different patterning, but there's messages in there, but only the heart can relay that translation to the mind. Make sense? Does that help? Yes.
Do you have the sense that these languages are in use on other planets?
Yes. And there's also here on Earth, this goes back to what Barbara was asking about too. There are mother tongues and mother languages that are kind of the ancient original languages that have been here on Earth. So right now the languages such as the Romance languages, someone brought that to our attention earlier today. There was a woman who, when I taught this star language class in Minnesota, she started to speak segments of French and Portuguese and Spanish. And I heard all these little fragments in there. And so I knew when she was speaking, I said, that's the mother tongue to all the Romance languages, which was way, 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 way before how they're spoken now. Because if you're familiar with the history of languages, the languages evolved, through generations with the changing of the environment. So this original imprint was there, and then Spanish broke off, French broke off, Portuguese broke off, but yet there's still familiarity to it, to that original tongue. Make sense? Yes, Mr. Gabriel.
Two core questions. First, could you repeat what the three core uses of the ego,
Motivator, protector, teacher. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the next one, can you speak at all to this idea of a unified light language that is sort of agreed upon here on Earth and in all the star systems, like agreed upon one, and the idea of like almost a explainable detailed system such that it can even be taught to the rational?
Yes, this is how I teach the star language. And I think, I'm sorry, what's your name, sir? I forget.
Harvey.
Arville.
No.
Artie. Artie.
Yoki to my friend.
Yoki. Yoki. So when I teach the star language, it correlates exactly to what he was doing today. A-E-I-O-U. Because what the star nations have said is that the vowels are the commonality for the earth spoken languages. Vowels. A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. Activa, activa, activa. Ithori, ithori, ithori. Vodivice, nine sing bas. Activate, activate, activate. Rejuvenate in who you are. This is you. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. That's the structure. It's the A-E-I. So those are E. When you do that tone, I. What was it, Tammy? Right? The ah. A. So she does it through frequency, right? So it's the vowel. So vowel is the commonality here on Earth to bring about these languages because they're all common. They're common sounds. Does that make sense? Does that help? Awesome. Yes?
What is the life expectancy for a Sasquatch, and how many Sasquatches are incarnated in physical form somewhere?
That's a very good question. That is an awesome question. Let's see, let me ask Uniak. In human form, he says there are at least 200,000 people. Very rare for individuals. But what he's saying, this is incarnation in the form of energy, previous lifetime being Sasquatch. Now I'm asking him about the hybridization, which Patricio brought about, because I know that some of us carry that Sasquatch gene. He's saying over 1 million on that. There's over 1 million people, humans, who are carrying the gene, specifically the gene. But you got to understand that it's not just Sasquatch, it's other star tribes that brought us together. There's Pleiadian, Syrian, Arcturian, all put their genetic markers in there.
So are Sasquatches physically incarnated as Sasquatches right now?
What do you mean by that?
Like in
Human form?
In physical form. Not looking like humans, but looking like
Sasquatch?
Sasquatch.
Yes. Yes.
Like how many of them are there?
I'm asking for this planet, just on planet Earth. He said there are various tribes and clans all across the globe, but from a galactic side of things, there are also galactic Sasquatch who are here. I knew they were coming in because those are the ones that you see them with pink highlights and blue hair. The Earth Sasquatch are the ones that are white, reddish brown, black. They're more traditional to the earthly plane. About 100,000 in your terms is what he's just saying to that. But they're all over. And he's saying that they don't just stay here on this planet, that they use the portals so they go in and out to different systems as well. There's another Earth-like planet, they said, that's very similar to your Terra. They call it the New Terra, the Nouveau Terra, Solo. They're saying it's part of like the new Earth that they go to a lot. But there's trees, they use the trees as portal systems to come out of this dimension and go to that. Because especially when now people are trying to hunt them, or government officials also doing the same thing, then they need that escape avenue, I should say. Make sense? Yes?
Are Sasquatch generally monogamous, and do they have family structures like humans?
Yes, they do. But as far as the monogamy, not as much. but they do have structure. They all, they're clans and tribes. So think of them like indigenous peoples on Earth, same thing. Clans, tribes. At one point, Sasquatch did do a lot of trading with the indigenous people.
Do they have a written language?
Yes,
You ever seen it?
yes. But it's glyphs. It's very, Uniac just said it's very similar to the runes from the Norse tradition. Very tree-like. Sticks, glyphs. They call them glyphs. He's happy to, he says, to satisfy your curiosity, I'm happy to bring some individuals to start sharing this with you. Yes, don't be surprised if you've seen sticks in odd shapes in front of your house.
I've been using runes for years. I find the nature of the whole process of reaching your hand in a bag and this one's right, and picking it out and discovering that you can intuit or connect to the energy of a stone that you aren't looking at, which is kind of wild.
Yes. One of the things about Sasquatch is that their teaching and the way they perceive things is very simple. It's simplicity. And they call us two-hearted ones, but they say sometimes you guys, and it's not to discredit who we are as humans, but they say you overcomplicate it all. It overcomplicated as humans. So laughter, lightheartedness. And before I'm done here, I do want to demonstrate the technique. Gail started this introduction this morning with our Sasquatch sticks and wood. So I'll have someone come up and demonstrate this. Yes?
Are Sasquatches language or runes? I don't know what you call it.
Glyphs.
Like Egypt runes, because Egypt runes always satisfy me, but I love learning.
Yes, part of it is from that, and then the Uniac was saying because also too you had a lifetime from Egypt. So that energy is very familiar to you. Make sense? Yes.
Would I be able to invite Sasquatch
Yes.
to my little canyon forest woods in New Mexico? Would they actually come like that if they are?
Uniac's laughing. He says, you already know the answer.
Would they be sick? Would they be sick? Would it be sick?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what happened. See, this is that there are elder brothers and sisters. So they love us and they treat us like the little brothers and sisters. So that's why he's laughingly joking, say, silly human. See?
I've heard that some tribes, I think one of them's a Grovach tribe in Montana,
Okay.
that have ceremony and include them
Yes.
in ceremony.
Yes.
Can you ask them if they would they welcome that even more?
They usually show up anyway because Sasquatch loves the drums. And they also love singing because their voices, as I mentioned, the vocal cords are not as developed as ours. So therefore, when we sing to them, because when we connected to them down on the res, they actually asked us to sing to them. And this is like 12 o'clock midnight at night, out in the middle of nowhere, right? Dark. And of course, you're freaking out. Because not only were they enjoying the singing, but the teaching behind it says because it puts us in a different mindset. So if we're out there, twinkle, twinkle, little star, right? You're in that inner child, and then they come to you, then why would you be scared? Because you're already in that heart frequency. Does that make sense? But they're very much drawn to the indigenous ways and ceremonies, especially because they're no different than the D and Dene. That's what we call them still. So they're still spirit helpers or helpers with particular situations. So like when they came and gifted us the wood, they showed us this technique, very simple technique on how to use the wood as a clearing tool. Yep. I'm going to get her and then I'll get you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was born in Belgium, and this guy in fact had this cartoon, and there's one of the albums that's Tintin in Tibet. And I've always been attracted by the way he
Yes.
I was curious, was it one of the Sasquatch members who, like made it?
Yes. Yes. And I was just going to say this real quick. If you guys haven't seen Smallfoot, please go and watch it. Please go and watch it. There's a big message at the end. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's exactly what we're doing right now. Okay? This is leading up to the event. It's leading to the event. So watch Smallfoot. Now, when I tapped into the energy of Smallfoot, when I was watching it, opening day, right? Me and Tracy were out there. The message came through is that the person who wrote the Smallfoot story was already working with them. And that's part of their role, is because what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to bring a different persona of who they are, the true persona of who they are. Not this scary monster, right? No, it's this loving, gentle being who's no different than us. Make sense? Yes, Artie.
It's obvious that these beings have great spiritual intelligence,
Yes.
telepathic ability, and they've got a written language. I would assume they've got professions. They're Sasquatch doctors and engineers and architects and farmers.
The Galactics do. They just said, Uniac is, I'll share with you. Uniac means easy going. Uni, easy. Ak means now. So easy going. So he's an elder, but he's also like a heyoka, a clown, just like me. But he brings the right energy through simplicity to your awareness. But he's also the ambassador from his people. He's an ambassador carrier, so he brings those guides to you. So let him know that I'm bringing the ones who've mastered the glyphs, is what the written language. He said, I'm bringing two to you as the guides. So that's kind of his role. Just like with me, when I talk about them like this, I'm the human form of this. Human form to bring that to bridge. As Tammy keeps saying, I'm a bridger. So I bring the star, earth, embodied now. Yeah, different ones. And they can come and do a healing on you if you guys are interested at night, though. Just give them your permission.
I would assume that they have ceremony with weddings and funerals, too.
Yes, he just said we don't go into more of the mourning or more of like how the indigenous peoples, like say for 4 days you're not supposed to do certain things, like in Navajo tradition, that's what we're just supposed to do. But we're not even supposed to go there. But they're saying it's not as extensive of what you guys would do because they already know the spirit form lives forever. They just know this is a carrier. This is a vessel.
Are they carnivores?
Yes. Yes.
They're on it.
Yep. They're both. It depends on where. Yes.
Manipulated and taken advantage energetically. I was explaining this to Ray earlier. One of the things that when Sasquatch gives you their hair, it's the most deepest form of trust and honor that they have of you. And you can imagine the immense amount of energy and medicine that comes along with responsibility that comes with this. So when they give that to you, they know, because they scan us, they ping us, they scan us, they know what our intentions are. Because they're very psychic, they're very developed, higher awareness, so they know what our intentions. So those people who are doing this, making money off Hollywood version, all that, they're not going to relay themselves. And what they've shown me is that this is what happens. So all the producers are in the camera and they're recording, trying to listen to their sounds, and then Sasquatch is behind them. Yes.
I have my own personal Sasquatch that is like with me, or I call upon this Sasquatch?
Yes. And
Can you describe it?
Uniax is...
Can you tell me what, is it male, female?
It's a male.
I thought that, because I smell musky.
Yep. It's a male.
You would verify that.
Yes, it's a male. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Other questions? Yes.
Have there ever been any human Sasquatch mating?
Hybrids?
Children?
Yes. Not with children, but more or less, yes. There are stories that say back during the Civil War, when there was runaway slaves, that those slaves were actually adopted by Sasquatch and taken into the tribe and treated no different. And so they have hybrids. And that's what actually, if you, I don't think you were here, but Gail was talking about her experience. This was one of those hybrids. She was a hybrid, human form and Sasquatch together. I went to the reservation just a few months ago. They left us symbol.
Them showed me the dry erase marker or dry erase board, and I taught them, and I said I brought these, and I left on the offering, and I said I'm really, and the questions on there. The last question I put on there is please share with us a symbol. And within 15 minutes, her grand came running down again. Garrett, they drew something on the board. And then there was this glyph. It was a little note. It looked like a treble clef. And they left this, and they said, when I asked who it was, he goes, it was a little Sasquatch learning how to write. And so I said, why? He goes, because her mom's teaching her to remember her ancestors, which was the human side. So that she wanted her to learn how to read and write, because to me, preparation for disclosure. Not yet. All right, guys, we're if you Tammy's kicking me out. This is what happens. Tammy's kicking me out. I will be here for the rest of tonight. I will be here tomorrow. So if you want to have a conversation more about this, I can certainly provide that to you. I do have healings and activations with the star languages. Part of the workshop, I'll be doing that tomorrow. So if you're interested in that piece, I'll be offering it during the workshop segment. But I did have one last message to share with you before Tammy kicks me off. Annisto yanastani eketeshun. Bono andai sishandi eketeshun no yatai. Anderkan sta andi eketeshun yenisti anderke quiero. Bondure te shandi que quiero sishandot. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you, and I see all of you. Thank you.